Most people don't recognize life-changing moments until they're already in the past. But what if I told you there are signs, clear, undeniable signals, that your life is on the verge of transformation? The truth is, change is not always comfortable. It's not always obvious. Sometimes it comes disguised as struggle, loss, or even chaos. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What if the very thing you're resisting is actually the key to your breakthrough? Stay with me, because if you've noticed these 8 signs, your life is about to change forever. And before we get into it, make sure to subscribe to Stoic Clarity and like this video. It helps spread wisdom to those who need it most. 1. You feel lost and uncertain. Most people fear uncertainty. They think being lost means they've made a mistake, that they've taken a wrong turn. But what if I told you that feeling lost is one of the biggest signs that something incredible is about to happen? That the discomfort you feel isn't a curse, it's a sign of transformation? Seneca once said, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." Think about that. If you don't know where you're going, it may feel like everything is against you. You start questioning everything, your choices, your beliefs, your purpose. It's unsettling. But have you ever considered that this uncertainty might be necessary? Look at history. The greatest thinkers, leaders, and innovators all had moments when they felt completely lost. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, was constantly questioning his own actions, his own purpose. But instead of seeing uncertainty as a weakness, he saw it as a tool. He embraced the unknown and used it to sharpen his mind and his character. Now let's bring it back to you. When was the last time you felt completely at peace, with no doubts, no struggles, no questions? Probably when life was easy, predictable, and maybe even a little boring. But true growth never happens in comfort. It happens when you are pushed, when you are forced to see the world differently, when you have no choice but to evolve. If you're feeling lost right now, take a moment and ask yourself, are you resisting this feeling, trying to force things back to how they were? Or are you willing to step into the unknown and trust that this phase is shaping you into something stronger? The people who resist uncertainty, who try to force things back to how they were, remain stuck. But those who embrace it, who are willing to walk forward even without a clear path, are the ones who evolve into something greater. So if you feel lost, don't panic. Instead, recognize it for what it truly is, a sign that your old life is crumbling, making room for something new. The universe is pushing you out of your comfort zone because it knows you're meant for more. The only question is, are you willing to embrace the unknown? 2. You've started to let go of toxic people. Something strange happens when you start to grow. You begin to see people differently. The conversations you once enjoyed now feel shallow. The friends you used to spend hours with now drain your energy. The things you once tolerated now seem unbearable. And at first you might wonder, what's wrong with me? Why am I losing interest in people I once cared about? But the truth is, you're not losing anything. You're shedding. You're evolving. Epictetus put it best. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. The more you elevate yourself, mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually, the more you will naturally outgrow those who thrive on negativity, gossip, and small thinking. It's like climbing a mountain. The higher you go, the thinner the air gets, and not everyone is built to breathe at that level. Some people will resist your growth. Some will resent it. Some will mock you for trying to become better, because your progress forces them to reflect on their own stagnation. Have you ever noticed how certain people only feel comfortable around you when you're struggling? They encourage bad habits, fuel your distractions, and make you feel guilty for wanting more. But the moment you start talking about discipline, success, or self-improvement, they either dismiss it or try to pull you back down. This is why growth can feel lonely at first. Because when you level up, not everyone around you will do the same. And that's okay. The hardest lesson in life is understanding that not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Letting go of toxic people isn't about rejecting them. It's about choosing yourself. It's about realizing that your energy is precious, your time is valuable, and your mindset is worth protecting. When you start prioritizing your peace, you'll notice that the people who benefited from your old habits will either push back or drift away. Ask yourself, do the people around you push you to be better, or do they encourage your bad habits? When you share your ambitions, do they support you, or do they make you feel small for wanting more? Are your friendships based on genuine connection, or just shared negativity and routine? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and the quality of your thoughts is shaped by the people you surround yourself with." So if you've started letting go of toxic people, take it as a sign. You're not losing them, you're making space for something better. It won't be easy. There will be moments when you question yourself, when you miss the familiarity of old friendships. But remember this, evolution requires separation. You cannot rise while clinging to what holds you down. At the end of the day, you have a choice. Stay in an environment that limits you or step into a future that challenges you to grow. Which will it be? 3. You're questioning everything you once believed. This one is dangerous. Most people live their entire lives trapped in a mental prison they never even realize exists. They believe what they were told as children. They follow the same rules, the same traditions, the same expectations, never once stopping to ask, is this actually true? Or is this just what I was conditioned to believe? The moment you start questioning the system, the narrative, and even your own deeply held beliefs, that's when true transformation begins. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, understood this. The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know anything about the subject. Think about that. How many of your beliefs were given to you by people who never questioned their own? How many truths have you accepted without proof, simply because they were repeated to you? Society teaches you what to think, not how to think. It tells you what success looks like, what happiness is supposed to be, what kind of life you should want. But what if everything you were taught was just someone else's version of the truth? This is why so few people ever break free, because questioning feels uncomfortable. It feels like betrayal. It feels like stepping into the unknown. But here's what they don't tell you: growth requires discomfort. If you've started to feel uneasy about the things you once blindly accepted, that's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of awakening. The Stoics understood that most people live in illusion. Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." If you never question, you never grow. If you never challenge your beliefs, you remain stuck in the same patterns, the same limitations, the same cycle of mediocrity. So if you've started asking yourself the hard questions about your purpose, your values, your relationships, understand this: you're not lost, you're waking up. Ask yourself, do you believe what you believe because it's true, or because it's comfortable? Are you making choices based on your own reasoning, or based on what others expect of you? When was the last time you challenged one of your core beliefs? The truth is, most people don't want to think. They want to be told. They want to be reassured that their way is the right way. But real power, real intelligence, comes from being willing to destroy outdated beliefs and rebuild stronger ones. And here's the uncomfortable part. The more you question, the more you will distance yourself from those who don't. Some people will see your transformation as a threat. They'll call you crazy, rebellious, or even arrogant. Not because you're wrong, but because your willingness to think for yourself reminds them that they never have. So here's my question to you. Are you blindly following, or are you thinking for yourself? The answer will determine everything. 4. You start noticing synchronicities. Have you ever thought about someone only for them to suddenly call you? Have you ever stumbled upon a book, a conversation, or a message that felt like it arrived at exactly the right moment? Maybe you keep seeing the same numbers on the clock, on receipts, on street signs. Maybe a random encounter puts you face to face with someone who offers the exact insight you needed. Most people dismiss these moments as coincidences. But if you've started noticing them frequently, if you feel like things are aligning in ways that are too perfect to be random, it might be a sign that you are on the brink of transformation. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once wrote, "Everything is interwoven, and the web is holy." The Stoics didn't believe life was just a series of disconnected events. They believed that everything in the universe operates in harmony, and when you begin to notice synchronicities, it means you are in alignment. You are tuning into something greater than yourself. Some call it fate, others call it intuition. But one thing is certain, when your life is about to change, the signs will appear. Think about it. How many times in history have people experienced breakthroughs just as they were about to give up? How often do we hear stories of someone meeting the right mentor, finding the right opportunity, or having a life-changing realization right when they needed it most? This isn't an accident. It's a pattern, and those who are aware enough to see it can use it to their advantage. What does this mean for you? If you've started noticing these patterns, it's time to pay attention. Life is speaking to you, guiding you. But most people are too distracted, too skeptical, or too busy chasing the wrong things to listen. Instead of ignoring the signs, ask yourself, what is this moment trying to show me? What patterns keep repeating in my life? Is there a message in these coincidences, or am I resisting change? The truth is, when people are too deeply stuck in old ways of thinking, they miss opportunities that are right in front of them. They dismiss their intuition. They ignore the patterns. They assume it's all meaningless. And so they stay trapped in the same cycle, never evolving. But if you're paying attention, if you've begun to notice these synchronicities, it means something bigger is happening. You are waking up. Your mind is sharpening. You are stepping into a new phase of awareness, and the universe is responding. This is your invitation. Your life is shifting, and you have a choice: fight it or embrace it. So next time something too perfect happens, don't brush it off. Take a moment. Reflect, because these moments are not just random. They are clues, and those who follow them, they are the ones who truly change their lives. 5. You've stopped seeking approval. Do you remember how much energy you used to waste worrying about what people thought of you? Every decision, every action, every word, you filtered it through the invisible judgment of others. You wanted to be liked. You wanted to fit in. You wanted validation. At some point in your life, approval was everything. As a child, you sought it from your parents. As a teenager, you sought it from your peers. And as an adult, you sought it from society. You dressed a certain way, spoke a certain way, and made choices not based on what was right for you, but based on what others expected. You shaped your life around the fear of disapproval. But something has shifted. You no longer crave the approval of people who don't matter. You no longer explain yourself to those who will never understand. You've realized that no matter what you do, people will always have opinions. And most of the time, their opinions are based on their own insecurities, not your truth. The trap of seeking approval. Marcus Aurelius saw this long ago and wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." Why do we let the opinions of others dictate our lives? Why do we value external validation more than our own inner voice? Because we've been conditioned to. From childhood, we were rewarded when we obeyed and punished when we didn't. We were taught to seek permission before taking action. Over time, this creates a dependency on approval. It makes us afraid to stand alone. But the truth is, the need for approval is a trap. It keeps you small. It forces you to play a role instead of becoming who you were meant to be. And worst of all, no matter how much approval you get, it will never be enough. The moment you stop seeking approval, everything changes. The moment you stop caring about approval, you become powerful. You become unpredictable. People can no longer control you with praise or criticism. Think about this. How many decisions have you made based on what others expected of you? How much of your potential have you sacrificed just to fit in? And most importantly, how many people whose approval you once craved do you even respect today? Most of the people whose opinions once dictated your actions will not even be in your life 5 years from now. And yet, you used to let them shape your choices. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop seeking approval, people actually respect you more. Because confidence, authenticity, and self-respect are magnetic. Those who stand firm in who they are don't need validation, they command it. But be warned, when you stop seeking approval, some people will resist. They'll call you arrogant. They'll say you've changed. They'll try to pull you back into the box they built for you. And that's when you'll realize something important. Most people don't want you to be free. Why? Because the moment you stop seeking approval, you expose the fact that they are still trapped. They still need permission. They still need validation. Your freedom makes them uncomfortable. Let them be uncomfortable. Because at the end of the day, you don't need their approval. You never did. And the fact that you no longer care, that's proof that you're evolving. So ask yourself, are you still chasing approval, or have you finally claimed your freedom? 6. You're attracting challenges you didn't expect. It's strange, isn't it? Just when you decide to change, just when you commit to something bigger, life seems to push back. Suddenly, everything feels heavier. People start misunderstanding you. The path that once felt clear is now filled with obstacles. At first, it seems unfair. You're trying to improve, to grow, to evolve. Shouldn't life reward that? Shouldn't things get easier? But they don't. In fact, they get harder. Here's why. This is not a setback. This is a test. Seneca said it best. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Think about it. If you went to the gym and lifted the same weight every day, would you ever get stronger? No. Strength only comes when you increase the resistance. And life works the same way. The moment you decide to level up, the universe increases the weight. Why does this happen? Most people don't realize that challenges aren't meant to break you. They're meant to shape you. They reveal who you truly are. Your patience is tested so you can develop self-control. Your failures increase so you can learn resilience. Your old life falls apart so you can build a new one. And the most powerful shift of all, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? The two paths people take. At this stage, you have two choices. 1, you can fall back into comfort. You can see these obstacles as signs to quit, as proof that you're not meant for something greater. 2, or you can push forward. You can see these struggles for what they really are, proof that you are stepping into a higher version of yourself. Think about every great leader, every successful person, every powerful figure in history. They all faced resistance, not because they were on the wrong path, but because they were on the right one. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacle is not stopping you, it is shaping you. What this means for you: if you're attracting unexpected challenges right now, take it as a sign. It means you're on the brink of transformation. It means you're stepping into a new version of yourself, and the old version, the weaker, more hesitant version, is being stripped away. So when life gets harder, when things don't go as planned, when everything feels like it's against you, understand that it's happening for you. Keep pushing, because just beyond the struggle is the breakthrough you've been waiting for. 7, you're experiencing more solitude. Have you noticed that you spend more time alone these days? That the noise of the world, the endless gossip, the mindless entertainment, the superficial conversations, no longer appeals to you the way it once did? That your own thoughts have become more interesting than distractions? This is not loneliness, this is elevation. There's a reason why some of the greatest minds in history, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, spent time in solitude. They understood something most people never do. Wisdom is born in stillness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." When you embrace solitude, something profound happens. Your mind sharpens. You begin to hear your own thoughts without external noise drowning them out. Your emotions stabilize. You no longer seek validation or distraction. You learn to be enough on your own. You gain clarity. When you step back from the world, you see it for what it truly is, not just what it pretends to be. Why this happens during transformation. When you're evolving, your priorities shift. The things that once entertained you now seem pointless. The people who once drained your energy no longer have a place in your life. And as a result, you naturally withdraw, not out of sadness, but out of a deep need for peace. At first, this solitude might feel strange. You might wonder why the old conversations feel empty, why you no longer crave social approval, why the idea of being alone is no longer scary but refreshing. But then, you realize the truth. You were never truly alone. Your mind was just too distracted to hear itself. The power of solitude. In solitude, you reflect instead of react. You process thoughts deeply instead of responding impulsively. Grow stronger mentally. You become self-sufficient instead of relying on external stimulation. Discover what truly matters. You align with your values instead of following the crowd. Most people run from solitude because they fear their own thoughts. They drown themselves in distractions to avoid facing reality. But those who embrace solitude, they become untouchable. Are you afraid of being alone, or are you finally realizing that solitude is your greatest weapon? 8. You feel an unexplainable drive to do more. Something inside you has awakened. You can't quite explain it, but it's there, a quiet urgency, a restless energy pushing you forward. The things that once satisfied, you no longer do. The routine that once felt comfortable now feels suffocating. This is your purpose calling. Most people live their lives asleep, content with mediocrity, numb to their own potential. But when you begin to change, something shifts inside you. You start to feel an undeniable hunger, to build, to create, to push yourself beyond what you once thought possible. Marcus Aurelius put it bluntly, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. What this drive means, you no longer accept good enough. What once seemed like success now feels small. You want more, not out of greed, but out of an inner knowing that you're capable of greatness. You feel a deep dissatisfaction with stagnation. The idea of staying the same, living the same way, thinking the same thoughts, it feels unbearable. You've stopped waiting for permission. You realize no one is coming to save you. No one is handing you your dream life. It's on you. The transition from comfort to purpose. At first, this drive is unsettling. You might feel frustrated, even anxious, like you're running out of time. But this is a gift, because most people never wake up. They stay stuck in the same patterns, the same habits, the same excuses. But not you. If you feel this inner fire, don't ignore it. Follow it. Feed it. Because once this feeling arrives, it never truly leaves. It only grows stronger. The question you must ask yourself: are you going to silence that voice inside you? Or are you finally ready to become the person you were meant to be? 9. You see the world differently than others. Have you ever felt like you're waking up from a dream while everyone around you is still asleep? Like the world is moving on autopilot, people following routines, distractions, and societal norms without ever stopping to question them? You see something deeper, something beyond the surface. This is a sign that your mind is evolving. You're stepping outside the illusion that most people live in. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." When your life is about to change, your perception shifts. You start questioning what others blindly accept. The things you were taught to believe about success, happiness, even reality itself, start to feel fragile. You realize much of what society tells you is built on assumptions rather than truth. You see patterns, connections, and truths that others ignore. The world starts to make sense in ways it never did before. You see the cause and effect behind people's actions, the hidden motivations, the deeper structures beneath the chaos. You realize most people live reactively, while you are beginning to live with intention. You watch people chase after distractions, react emotionally, and live without purpose, while you begin to move deliberately, choosing your battles, thinking ahead, and acting with clarity. The isolation of awareness. At first, this change can feel isolating. You may feel disconnected from old friends, from family, from people who still think small and never question their reality. Conversations that once felt engaging now seem shallow. The things that once entertained you now feel meaningless. This is the price of awakening. The more you see, the harder it becomes to fit in with those who refuse to open their eyes. But understand this, you are not alone. Many of the greatest thinkers, leaders, and visionaries in history experienced this exact shift. They too saw the world differently, and that's why they changed it. The ultimate question: are you willing to embrace this new way of thinking, even if it sets you apart? Are you ready to walk a path that few will understand? Or will you shrink back into the comfort of blind acceptance just to fit in? The choice is yours. If you recognize these signs in your life, know this: you are not alone. Many have walked this path before you. The confusion, the discomfort, the solitude, it's all part of shedding your old self and stepping into something greater. The question is not whether your life is changing. It already is. The real question is, will you resist it, clinging to the familiar? Or will you embrace it, knowing that every challenge, every moment of doubt, is forging you into the person you were meant to be? This isn't the end. It's the beginning. A new chapter, a new mindset, a new you. If this message resonated with you, don't just sit with it, take action. Hit that like button to let me know you're ready. Subscribe to Stoic Clarity for more insights on mastering life's challenges. And tell me in the comments, what sign are you experiencing right now? How is transformation showing up in your life?